guys? Today's video is going to be about why I'm going to decide to cold soak for 2021, see how it goes, and at the end of the video I'm going to give an announcement for my next smaller through hike so I can try testing this out. Stay tuned. Why the hell am I deciding to cold soak? I never thought that I would cold soak. I used to look at cold soakers as they're pretty nuts, like they're pretty hardcore, definitely like ultralight, like snobs probably, and just like why? However, I've started to talk to enough people that do it, and it's actually more common than I originally thought. And they actually bring up some really good points as to why they actually do it. So number one, obviously you're decreasing the weight of your stove system. The biggest culprit with this is removing the gas canister. The gas canister is going to weigh a lot. The other thing is that you have to constantly worry about how much gas you have in the canister, and then worry about logistics, getting another canister, how long this one's gonna still last. Removing that stress is, I think, will be a good thing. The biggest thing that I want to cold soak for is for the efficiency. When you get to camp after a long mileage day, the last thing you wanna do is sit there and monkey around with having to light your stove, have it cook, have it sit, blah, 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 blah.
I would literally pay someone $150 to set up my camp right now.
With cold soaking, I think the efficiency is just going to skyrocket because of the fact that you're going to be preparing dinner well before you actually get into camp. You got to think of it this way too, right? Like, your on-trail dinners aren't like magical. My rule is everything tastes better in the wilderness. Everything. When you have some of the foods that you bring on your typical backpacking route, they're like okay, but they're not like, oh my gosh, explode in your mouth like, you know, the most amazing thing you've ever had. And I'm really not that picky, so that's why I think cold soaking would work for me. So how am I gonna do this? I've done some research on it. I've asked some of my buddies about it. Number one, I went to the store the other day and got my Talenti jar. So now I feel like a real cold soaker with this. This is the jar that a lot of people prefer to use for the cold soaking. And then I went and I got my food. So there's a great article that I'll leave in the description from the Trek that describes some of the most common cold soaking meals and then how long it takes to cold soak them. So one would be ramen, Idahoan potatoes, and also some couscous. I am going to do this 30 minutes to an hour before I get into camp. I'm gonna start cold soaking. I'm gonna leave it in the back of my pack. It's gonna swish around, blah, da, 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 da. By the time I get into camp, it's actually gonna be ready to eat. And I'm just gonna use the same exact stuff that I would normally. So I'll just add in a salmon or a tuna or a chicken packet, olive oil. I figured I should probably try this out before I actually go on the TRT and like end up absolutely hating it. There's a trail in Southern Oregon that is kind of lesser known, not very popular. It's called the Rogue River Trail, right? Now this is like a 40-mile hike along the Rogue River. Be out there for probably like 2 days, and you know, it's 40 miles, so it's pretty low consequence. I'm just gonna kind of try to get used to it and see how that goes by doing a shakedown hike. Now, this is gonna, again, serve a bunch of purposes. If you've seen any of my previous videos, I'm a huge proponent of shakedown hikes. A lot of people that follow this channel are gonna be doing the JMT this year, so I'm gonna leave a link to some of the food that I brought on the JMT and what I would do next time right here. This does not include cold soaking, by the way. Answer some quick questions here real quick. This was on my backpacking Crater Lake in the winter video. Medicep, I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry. They asked, what kind of tent did you guys use to stay warm? 4-season tents seem to be very expensive. This is a really good question, and I just used a 3-season tent, just my Big Agnes Fly Creek UL2. However, what I did was I actually used 2 sleeping pads to increase the R value. I also used a liner in my sleeping bag. I was actually hot during the night, and it got down into 19, 18 degrees. In my opinion, you don't really need a 4-season tent. I mean, if you're doing some real extreme shit in the winter, you know, like summiting some mountains and you're doing base camp or something, yeah. But for what we did, a 3-season tent was fine. Matt Cook, Oregon says, great camping tour of Crater. In the winter, I never go because of dog restrictions. Did you bring enough water or melt snow? So what we ended up doing was melting snow. I actually left my water bottle in the guy's car that gave us a hitch up there, which was terrible. But if I would recommend, if you are going in the winter, to actually bring enough water, because melting snow really kind of sucks. and it takes a long time. It takes so much snow and so much fuel to actually melt the snow. So if you can, I would try to pack in, you know, a good amount of water. I know obviously water weighs a lot. Use your judgment on that, but it does take quite a long time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, and remember, do what makes you feel alive. We'll see you later.